Hey, what's going on? Jeff Ratcliffe here. You know, rookie wide receivers aren't as likely to produce in year one as their running back counterparts are, but there are some intriguing options in this year's class who could step right on the field and immediately produce viable fantasy numbers. So let's break down the top 5 rookie wideouts for 2019 fantasy football drafts. But before we do, you know, nothing goes better with football than beer. And if you're anything like me, you don't want to drink the bad stuff on Sundays. You want the good stuff to celebrate football with a nice craft beer. There's nothing better than that. But sometimes you can't get all the best craft beers in your area. Well, this is where Tavour comes into play. You get unique beers shipped to your door, and we have an opportunity for you. All you have to do is use the promo code PFFBEER, that's all one word, and you can get $10 in beer money. All you have to do is spend $25 over at Tavour. $10 in beer money, that's pretty darn good. PFF Beer is the promo code. Enjoy. Cheers. All right, so let's get into these top 5 rookie wide receivers. And let's start with Miko Hardman. You know, a couple months ago, right after the draft, I think people might have had him even higher because there was some uncertainty surrounding Tyreek Hill's situation. And of course, the Kansas City Chiefs step up and take Hardman as a surprise day 2 pick. Now, fast forward a little bit, and we still don't know everything that's going on with Hill, but it does seem like he's going to be in camp, and he could very well be on the field this year for the Chiefs. So that means immediate production from Hardman, well, it may not necessarily happen. And there's a lot of unknowns with Hardman as well. I mean, yes, we know he's very fast, but he was very underused as well at the college level. I mean, 60 catches combined in his college career. Very green. There's a lot of upside here, especially considering the Kansas City Chiefs offense with Patrick Mahomes under center. But in the same right, Hill's uncertainty, Hardman's uncertainty pushed him down my rankings just a little bit as we get closer to the start of the season. At number 4, we have Campbell, and another blazing fast receiver in Campbell. He gives Indy that weapon of dynamic speed, but be careful because he's not necessarily a downfield threat. We saw at Ohio State that he was primarily used in the short and intermediate areas of the field, so he'll be a slot weapon, but granted, a slot weapon with 4.3 wheels who could take any touch to the house potentially in the right situation. But the problem, of course, with slot receivers, those lower average depth of targets, is quite frequently they don't have as much fantasy value as some of their higher ADOT counterparts, average depth of targets, how far downfield these guys are being targeted. So just be careful there with Campbell, but still a lot to like there, and he's going to be in a position where he could play immediately in that high-powered Indy offense. At number 3, Hakeem Butler, and some might have Andy Isabella above Butler, both of them drafted by Arizona. And Arizona obviously is a very interesting situation here. Cliff Kingsbury coming in with a high-powered offense. Kyler Murray going first overall. There's a lot to like. Now, granted, it could take a little bit of time for everything to gel there, but why do I have Butler ahead of Isabella? Well, Isabella, quite frankly, plays the same position as Larry Fitzgerald in that offense. And Fitzgerald, yes, he's coming to the end of his career, but he's still there now, and he's going to be on the field in 2019. So that could be a bit of a roadblock for Andy Isabella, whereas Hakeem Butler really doesn't have that roadblock. He could get on the field immediately, potentially play, you know, on the outside in 3 wide sets, maybe even some 2 wide sets, although you would expect Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald to be out there for those. But he brings the big body presence, you know, the size that you can't teach, play above the rim, red zone ability, but also big play upside. And yes, okay, he had a little bit of the dropsies in the college level, but I'm not too worried about that. Drops are one of the few things at wide receiver I really don't pay that much attention to. Hakeem Butler, major upside, especially in that offense. At number 2, DK Metcalf. This is the year of the big body wide receivers because we have a couple of them at the top of the list here. DK Metcalf is a specimen from a physical standpoint. We know size, speed, athleticism, all of those things that you can't teach, he has them. Now, much publicized though is his route running, which isn't necessarily the best in this class and maybe is among the worst depending on who you talk to. But that being said, I mean, are we relying on DK Metcalf for fantasy purposes to run precise routes? Do you get points for that in fantasy leagues? Because I never have. It's not about the route running. It's about the big play upside. And we know, of course, Russell Wilson, he can sling the rock downfield. He can certainly throw the rock a lot in the red zone as well as he's done over the last 2 years. You know, last year, under 500 passing attempts out of Russell Wilson, but he still tops 30 touchdown passes. That's certainly saying something. And not to mention the fact that Doug Baldwin isn't there anymore. So there's a lot of opportunity for Metcalf to step right on the field and play immediately. He's definitely a name to know out of this year's rookie wide receivers, but he isn't the number one guy. Who's number one? It's Nikhil Harry. Goes to New England. Now, if this would have happened maybe 5 or 6 years ago, we would have been over the moon about Nikhil Harry, but Tom Brady, north of 40 at this point in his career, and the team decidedly becoming much more run-centric, has put a little bit of a damper on the upside in the passing game. But still, there's opportunity here. You have an aging Julian Edelman as the primary pass catcher. Rob Gronkowski is out of the mix, so there's plenty of opportunity for Harry to step right on the field and become a weapon for this offense. And what you like about Harry is he's another big-bodied wide receiver, so he can have a presence in the red zone for this team. While Tom Brady may not be throwing for 50 touchdowns this year, he's still going to throw for his share, and Harry's going to be on the receiving end of a bunch of those touchdowns. In year one, he's the top rookie wide receiver in 2019. If you want to check out the rest of our rookie wide receiver rankings and all of our rankings, go check all of those out over at ProFootballFocus.com.